Hi ladies, let's talk about your Notan exercise. So Notan is a Japanese term that refers to a harmony between lights and darks. And what you're going to do is make two compositions that create a whole picture plane filled with just shapes. So what you'll be doing is getting these little 6 by 6 inch squares. You're going to make designs along the edge, primarily along the all four edges of them. And these designs really need to be shapes. They cannot be lines. There can be no shading. You're going to only be working with shapes, thinking specifically about how your shapes are either static or dynamic and how they're working together and what they're conveying when they're static and what they're conveying when they're dynamic. So you'll be making all these kind of designs along the edge of your page, and then you will start cutting like what you see here with the X-Acto knife on your self-healing board. You want to be very careful as you cut because you don't want to have any fingers in the way of the blade. These blades are brand new and they're very sharp. And don't forget, if your blade starts to get loose, it's probably it's because you're going to need to tighten that a little bit. So I suggest you take these little 6 by 6 inch squares, trace them in your sketchbook, and do a couple drafts of what you might want to do. Just get a sense of how you want to lay out your composition, where you want to put things. The reason you're going to do two is because you're going to do one that is non-objective imagery and one that is objective imagery. So non-objective means it's kind of like the one example you see here. You're not making anything that references real objects. You're just doing pure shapes. And you're not making a scene, you're not making a recognizable form. So that's what non-objective means. Therefore, objective means that that design can include things that you would recognize in the world. For instance, trees, or a sun, or a moon, or flowers, objects, animals, anything from nature. All that kind of stuff would be considered objective imagery. So you'll have one non-objective, one objective. That'll be the two distinctions, but both of them should be thinking about how you're using shapes, how you're using shapes to direct the eye, to convey a mood, and certainly how you're using shapes to convey any kind of action or stillness. Once you have all the shapes drawn along your edge, you're going to again cut them out with the X-Acto knife. Be mindful of curved lines, they can be really tough. And also be mindful of all these little pieces that you're cutting. Try and keep them in place and try and make sure you're not losing any of them, especially if you're having to transfer the work from studio to home. Because what you're going to do is once you've gotten all the pieces cut, you're going to take your colored paper, put it on your black paper, center it on that page, and this is worth measuring. You want to make sure that you have your object in the very center of that black page. You will glue down the base, essentially all the negative space that's left in, and then you'll start gluing down all the pieces that are along the edge. And please note, when I'm gluing these down, you're reflecting them. So you're taking them and you're actually flipping them so that they are now a mirror image of their negative space. Some objects won't be attached to the edge, and that's fine. You'll have to use your best guess to place them to see where they should go. And you also want to avoid things that might be going across the middle of your page, because that would mean that you wouldn't have enough room to put it on the side of your design. So I would say no design should really go beyond the center of your page for that reason. And that's the basics of how you're going to be making your Notan artwork. Let's quickly shoot over to an example of your SlideShare and talk about how you're going to document this work. So this is the SlideShare, and everyone's SlideShare is now going to have this page uploaded to it, which is where you're going to be putting the two photographs of your Notans, and also you're going to be answering reflection questions. The questions you're just going to answer for both images. And that'll be, again, in your personal SlideShare that you share with just me. And now, if you have time, I suggest you also poke over to the slide for your final Zentangle and upload that image. That won't be due until Tuesday. However, if you have it done, I suggest you just upload your Zentangle and then also complete your Zentangle student assessment, just so you're not having anything to do. If you have the time, either Thursday, Friday, or over the weekend if it's already done, I would just have that completed. It won't be due again until Tuesday, but may as well get ahead if you have the ability to. And then if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to me. I will be available on Fridays over email, and I'll be available over Zoom. You'll see the Zoom link in our Canvas page on the home page for the Flex Friday Zoom meetings. Talk to you guys soon.